Live.
We are live on a Wednesday afternoon, evening. I guess it depends on where you are. Obviously, Ev, this is a college football podcast. This is Unnecessary Roughness presented by Twisted Tea. I was not here last week. I'm sad that the NBA season is over. I'm truly sad. On to baseball season, on to some other things.
It's not over.
I know it's not. And that's why we're going early. Obviously, the Eastern Conference Finals start tonight. Obviously, once Jason Tatum got hurt, it's not about the Celtics. I get it. It's your moment, but we're going live early because the New York Knicks are playing in the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. How are you feeling?
I feel great. It's been, I've said this. If the Knicks, lot of work to do. If the Knicks were able to pull this off somehow, just don't talk. If I go Buckeyes Knicks back to back, I won't know what to do with myself every day. No one will want to be friends with me, around me. I will be just insufferable as it gets year round.
I can imagine. And I know Blutman loves the NBA, so I'm sure he wants to weigh in here. But I will say no Brandon this week. And I have a topic this week that Brandon would not have fun with anyways. Because if you listen to the episode a few weeks ago, we did the most toxic fan bases, which obviously got a lot of interaction. A lot of people really pissed, Iowa fans back in the moment with Brandon. I decided this week we're going to do some news. We're going to do some win totals because all the sports books are releasing those right now. We're going to do the top 10 least toxic fan bases. And because Brandon Walker is not here, that means we can say nice things about teams. And that's a very rare thing that we can do on this podcast. I figured if he's not going to be here, you might as well. Of course, Unnecessary Roughness is presented by Twisted Tea, refreshing hard iced tea made with real brewed tea and 5% alcohol. The new sponsor of Unnecessary Roughness. I've said it's Brandon Walker in a can. If there was an alcoholic drink made for this man, made for this podcast, it is Twisted Tea. It goes down smooth. There's no carbonation, which, as we know, Ev, makes it easier to drink all day. When you've got that carbonation, you start feeling a little bit full, getting the bubbles, not with Twisted Tea. So they're going to have a great season with us when we do 3 episodes a week. It's going to be a good time. So grab a refreshing Twisted Tea today. Blutman, how are you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I feel like the positivity of ranking the least toxic fan bases, which we'll get into after news. I'm interested to see where Blutman goes with this, Ev, because I know you pretty well and I know your personality, and obviously Blutman's personality is hard to crack no matter how close to him you are. I wonder who he actually thinks is nice.
I have a feeling, knowing Blutman's brain, what he's gonna do.
Okay.
I hope he doesn't do what I think he's gonna do. but I
really want to know what you think I'm going to do.
I'll tell the truth after. But this was interesting when I was doing my little whom I put on my list. I had a good time doing it, but I just wonder where I think I have just the way Blutman takes things so I don't know if I want to say literally, because I feel like literally doesn't even.
No, literally, he does.
He goes even past literally. So I'm just curious if he does what I think he might have done.
Yeah, I was very fascinated to get his thoughts on this too, and I would so I did my list off of just the top of my head of the way that I ranked him, and then I also just kind of because the one that we did, and I feel bad now. I don't know, I know that it was Sports Illustrated that kind of did the overview of it, but whoever did the most toxic fan base, list, and we kind of went back and forth. I wanted to see if somebody had made a list like this, and there's not. But I got to tell you, Ev, the amount of people on there that say that Ohio State is one of the nicest fan bases out there is crazy to me. I just in random blogs, I was like, what are we talking about?
Well, I wonder if they take it as I went to Ohio State as a visiting fan and they were nice to me. I wonder if that's toxic, because I think I said the last time, wanting to fire the coach in the midst of a national title season is as toxic as it gets. So I'll totally own that we are toxic. It's just, I think for the most part, anyone that has really high expectations, you're toxic in some way. And I think Ohio State is basically the highest.
Yeah, it is.
Alabama, Georgia at this point, we have the highest. So, I think you're going to be, and we hadn't won one in 10 years, and we had been so close so often. It's just the pressure of it and not getting there is, that's where the toxicity is. When you just can't get over the hump, I think that's when it builds. But I guess maybe other fan bases. I have others on my list where they have been good and haven't gotten over the hump, and I still would argue they're like not that toxic. So I don't know. Maybe I think we're toxic.
Once you put it in terms of like we wanted to fire him mid-season and then he won and we're like, we love you, we want you to stay forever, and we were like, well, that's quite literally what a toxic relationship is, like in romantic worlds. I was like, yeah, no, you're right. Blutman, do you think that you took what we're doing today as literally as we think that you've taken it?
No, I think I went in a direction, an unexpected direction, but a direction that makes sense if for those that retain my words of 2 weeks ago.
Oh boy. Okay. So if Liam Blutman didn't just do a great spoiler, I don't know what it is. But before we get to that, let's get to some news. Obviously the big noon bill in Ohio is being passed. Blutman, I'll start with you. So this is one of those things where I'm like, why is the government really trying to get involved with college football when it comes to this? And it's always funny to me. We've seen state legislation try to get involved with teams playing, but this one is interesting because I think we all have different views on kickoff. So essentially, there's an Ohio State representative. I think his name is Tex Fisher, if I read that correctly, which just is hilarious. He basically introduced a bill that says if Ohio State is playing a game against a top 10 opponent, it cannot be a 12 o'clock kickoff Eastern, obviously. It has to be 3:30 or later. If it is scheduled that way, whoever had the first rights to scheduling, whether that be the conference or the TV rights, so obviously Fox is Big Noon Fox, that they would be slapped with a $10 million fine if this happens. So I'm going to start with, because I know, Ev, where you're going to go. Blutman, I don't know if we've ever talked about this since you joined the podcast. I know on Unnecessary Roughness, we've talked about this a lot. As a fan not going to a game, I love 12 o'clock kickoffs. I think 12 o'clock kickoffs are awesome because it starts the day. I hate starting days and slates with shit games. So I want those top 10 matchups as long as I'm not going to the game. What do you think?
As one of my great friends, as the great Connor Griffin once said, what recruit goes to sleep and dreams of playing at noon? Nobody does. There's a clear difference in the bones in your body get the goosebumps, the chills, the butterflies when you're under the lights and it's just that big game, big time, prime time feel where everybody in America is watching. There's a completely different feel to a big game under lights. Heck, an SEC game in that second slate, a big time one in that second slate that's kicking up on CBS. And heck, we got rid of that too. College football ain't so sacred anymore, is what it is. The Ohio State Michigan game should always be at noon. I have to say big noon now, or whatever, big nude Saturday, as it once said. That game's fine there. The bill making things, whatever. I don't really care about that. That's just government trolling, doing a little troll job, catering to the kiddos of the world. But when it gets down to it, why is Ohio State Texas? Why is that game shouldn't be at noon? That should be a big time feel. Let's go just under the lights and have a great football game. And I understand wanting a noon slate that's not so
shit
like bland. And but it is anyway with big noon, is it not? Because half the big noon games are just Ohio State against Nebraska, Ohio State against Minnesota, whoever. The big noon games stink. They're not good at all.
This is also where, you having the point about recruits, I can absolutely understand that. You're talking about teenagers or in their early 20s not wanting to have to play at noon. And I understand that from a standpoint of them. But as a fan, again, if I'm not going to the game, I love the idea of Ohio State, Texas at noon. Ev, where do you stand on this? Because you are the Ohio State guy, obviously.
No, as a fan, I like it now because when Ohio State truly has a big game, and obviously Texas will be one, but it's a little bit different because it's the first game of the year. But still, when there's a big game, I like the idea of waking up early and having I like not having to wait all day. When you have a game that really matters, even the Knicks tonight, you're sitting there, you're just jittery all day. So selfishly, I want it at noon. And Ohio State, like Liam brought up, Ohio State does kind of have the kicker where we have this Michigan game that's always at noon. So we kind of we know the formula. It's a noon game. You get up at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. You drink all morning. The bars are open early, all that good stuff. But obviously, it's the college kids. Like you prefer like especially first game of the year, Texas, like a non-conference. Like you want that game at night. They should be. I think they should have like some wiggle room. Like they can't just have. Like I don't think they can't just have this thing in like a chokehold where like every big game is noon. I don't mind a few of them being noon. Like Liam said, when it's like Ohio State, Nebraska, if it's I don't know like a Michigan and like whoever, you know what I mean? Like any of the big prominent programs get like an early game, like that's fine. But they got to have a couple of them got to be night games. And Ohio State, Texas, I think would absolutely fit that bill. Would be better as a night game. I mean, there's some other good night games the week one slate. I get it. Like on the other, I think like Texas LSU is that night. Clemson LSU. I mean, excuse me. But I mean, no, a game like this, you should have a few of these at least. You can't have every single one at noon.
There's another just part of this that I need to bring up, and that's the build-up to that big-time night game on a Saturday. The build-up and the anxiousness that you feel and just the itch and the hunger that you're getting for that game while you're still enjoying the other stuff and the chaos happening around the country helps create the perfect college football Saturday experience. Like that to me, I want to be itching on Saturday like, yo, this game in that noon slate and that second slate too, like these games are hidden. But man, when Ohio State and Texas kick off tonight under lights, that's gonna be a great culmination of everything of this whole Saturday. Then I got a little, Pac-12 After Dark out west, ripped to it, but it still lives in my heart. I got that later. Like that's what I want. There are certain games that belong in certain time slots. Ohio State, Michigan belongs in that early window. Texas, Oklahoma, Red River belongs in that too. Oklahoma State, another rivalry that we've just killed off for whatever reason, because we kill everything off now in college football, and we're going to kill off more for whatever reason. That Bedlam always belonged under the lights. There are certain games that deserve that. And Ohio State, Texas, two great, pristine national brands should not be playing at 9 a.m. Pacific.
I do also realize you're coming from a Pacific time zone brain too, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but that is something that I forget because 9 a.m. for you, I mean, Pacific time zones in general, that's crazy. I do think, and Ev, you said it, and I said it as well, and I've said it a lot. It does depend if it's your team. So if A&M has a primetime game at 8 o'clock, the whole day to me is just sitting there no matter what's happening. It could be chaos across the country, but the fact that I have to wait for A&M and Notre Dame to kick off at 8 p.m., that to me is awful. I hate that. But if it's Ohio State and Texas, I'm excited. So I see it both ways, but if it's your team playing, waiting all day is the fucking worst. It's the worst. I don't care what else is happening.
No, 100%. It just, I mean, I think it should be that. I think there should be a conference thing with it. I agree. I don't know. I mean, like Liam said, the bill's not going to do anything. I don't know. I don't know what even jurisdiction they have over that. I mean,
I don't know.
And honestly, how much how much power and how big these TV contracts are. I mean, 10 million. They're like, fuck it, they'll stuff 10 million in their face like it's like Scott Disick with a $100 bill. Like, just shut up. Take that money, get the fuck out of it.
That this Tex Fisher guy is like, you know what, 10 million sounds good. And then it's like, well, it's really then it's going to come down to who actually agreed to it. Liam put it perfectly. It's a troll bill, but it does kind of open up the conversation with the primetime games. And speaking of that, another news item that's it just popped off today. Obviously Nick Saban is one of the big time premier guys. People are talking about, is he going to be Lee Corso's spot? All this different stuff. He said he's in favor of college football playoff expansion because that bowl games used to be everything. Now that we do have a 12-team playoff, that it obviously takes, attention off the bowl games. Let's expand it to 16. So he's in there, and every time Nick Saban talks, people listen. And then Matt Rule comes over the top and says, fuck it, let's just do 40. And of course we can't do 40 because one of the things that Nick Saban said, as long as these guys aren't playing too many games, we do have to think about player safety and so on and so forth. I love it though, Ev, that these coaches are coming out and just being like, we all know that bowl games, no matter what people want to say, are not going to matter the way that they used to. Sure, there's football on. Sure, you're going to gamble on it. Every single person that team is playing, you're going to watch. In reality, bowl games don't matter anymore unless they're one of the playoffs. Why not just expand it to the amount of games that's for player safety that makes sense and just do this thing?
You see, you can you can absolutely sell me on the angle of like just saving bowl games. Because I thought that's what the 12 team did. Like my whole argument from the beginning of it was it's going to save bowl games. Like where like BCS bowls that no one cared about. Now they're playoff games. You have to care about them. So if they want to take it a step further and say like, let's just save like all the bowl season combined and make it like, I don't know, like a 32 team field. I'm like, listen, college football has changed so much. I almost think this is just another way of adapting. If you sell me on that, and sure, I don't know how they do that. Like with, I don't know, like do they shorten the regular season just for like more playoff games? Like, because I don't think you can make some crazy expansion like Matt Rule is saying like 32 or like something nuts like that way. He said 40 or whatever. I think 32 would be like the absolute max you could ever take this thing, but who knows? I think D1AA, what did they do 32, right, Liam?
24.
24. All right, so even if you got to 24, I mean, I have like some buys, or I don't know. You can sell me on that point alone. You can sell me on saving bowl games because none of the other bowl games, like I love to gamble on them, and I think you can find edges with how many like guys sit out and all that. But if you want really the most competitive bowl games, I think that would be a solution. Whether
I mean,
like it or not.
I know. And I know, Liam, you're a very much purist. You hate all the change, but it used to be, I mean, before the playoff expansion and especially before, even the 14 playoff, like you would get, I would print out the lists of every single bowl game and we would go through and talk about every single one. And even with the 4 teams, like on this exact podcast, we would say, which non-playoff games are we excited to talk about? And it like, again, whether the haters want to agree with it or not, it did lose its luster this year. It absolutely did, because we were just like, hey, we're waiting for the first round of the college football playoff. If that's the way it's going to be, why not expand it a little bit? Why not make it 16?
I also, with Rule, I think he was scanning into his Mike Leach bag and doing a little bit of trolling.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there's a lot of trolling going on.
I still loved the idea that he just said it. I mean, they're all trolling to a certain degree. But like the fact that he was like, I don't know, fuck it. Like, let's just do 40. Knowing fully well that can't happen. Instead of the opposite, instead of being like, well, I think we should go backwards or go to 8, which they'll never be able to do.
He's like, he's trolling. And the unfortunate part about it is he's saying something that has the opportunity to actually happen with the clown circus show that has been going on. And we're just, I know
you hate it. I know.
Yeah. I'm not a change guy,
but see, like I think as a college football, like as a pure, when I say a purist, I mean this is someone who like loves just a real hardcore. I think you have to try to embrace it because like this little like this aw shucks of college football that was like amateurism and bowl games, like that shit's long gone. Like you're living in like 1992. Like that shit's way done.
All I can say is the 2010s was the peak of my sports fandom. And just like I know that we're not getting back to that level of college football, and the 2010s was an incredible decade of college football from start to finish. Actually, the finish stunk because we count COVID as the last part of the decade, or no? Because 0-0, whatever, that was tough. But 2010 to 2019 was pretty much perfection in my book.
But that's also depends on your age.
There was no like parody.
No parody.
Not a lot of parody.
Fine by me. I'm not a guy who like I don't depend on parody. I like seeing teams have to. I love seeing the top teams, the dynasties, and everything in any sport defend their crown and just like be better than me at some point. Try and beat me. Find ways to scheme against me and everything, and strategize against me and bring me down. Like you can't climb up these steps to this mountaintop. Like too bad. Stay down there, little squirt. I love that.
I will say that like my dad, getting him to convince him that NIL was a good idea, not just because of like, I mean, he's always thought guys should sign their autographs and make money, but the actual idea of what NIL looks like he was like, this is awful. Because he is the 80s and 90s, like that to him. I mean, he was in school in the 70s, but like to him, the 70s to the 90s were like the glory years of college football. So it really just depends on your age. Yeah. But if you don't adapt to it, you're going to end up hating the sport, and that would suck.
Because that's where, like, I guess, because even like the 2010 to 2019 thing, like, I guess for Liam, for you, that's like a nostalgic thing, and not to say that's not for me at all, but I don't know. Like, I feel like I'd argue like the decade prior was better. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think I think there's something where I think in the 2010s, like it started to slide where like guys at the end of the 2010s, guys started opting out. Like that thing started to become real. And I think the only way to fix it at this point is to probably expand the playoffs significantly. Now, is significantly, like you said, is it just get it to 16? Is it to 24? Is it 32? I don't know. And I don't know how they do it if it's one against 32 or all. I mean, there's so much would have to go into that, but I think the way we're seeing now, where like bowl games they're such opt-out fests. Like they're going to continue to be these absurd opt-out fests, or make a couple of them meaningful and almost make the guys play. Like making a playoff, you're kind of like making the good teams play.
Mm-hmm.
Whether
and
you think it's better
you're playing for something, you know. And I understand.
Like, I mean, think about just like, I mean, in a nutshell, just think like 13 to like even to say 13 to 24. Like those teams last year, the Bama, South Carolina, Ole Miss, A&M, I guess would have been in there, like
Colorado,
Miami, like all these other teams, like at least like they have star players, like make them play. Like at least I don't know. I think it's I don't know. I think it's worth it considering like I was almost the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm in on it, just because the alternative is so bad.
Yeah,
like, it may not be as good as it was before, but I think it's better than what it's becoming. I think that maybe would improve it.
I also do think, and it's easy. I mean, it's talking season right now. You know, it's almost Memorial Day. It's one of those things where we just look for something to talk about in college football. The way that the 12-team playoff, I mean, obviously, Ev, you're happy because your team won, but how bad the seeding was, how bad some of this stuff was in year one, if that starts to get fixed pretty quickly, like if we see a difference this year in how bad some of those matchups were from last year, I think more people would be on board with, okay, now we're going to see they're actually going to make the changes quick enough where it's not just like, well, let's just expand it to try to fix it. Like fix what's broken, because it is, and see what goes on. But again, talking season, and anytime Nick Saban starts getting into this stuff, like I'm going to listen. They're talking about, I saw, and I'm sure it was just like gossip online, but like maybe he's going to start doing the Lee Corso mascot heads. And I was like, absolutely not. No one can ever do that again. Like that's just blasphemy.
I mean,
like,
someone could do it again, but it's got to be a goof.
No, and see, that's like my nostalgic
the guy.
Can you imagine Nick Saban trying to do those antics? Like that would just be, it'd just be the worst.
No, it's literally like, all right, we're at college game day. It's Auburn, Tennessee in 2029. And Nick Saban just writes down on a piece of paper and holds it up. Oh, Auburn by 6.
We got to have somebody else do it, but I do find it like, I mean, I've said that I thought Lee Corso, and I know it's old news now, but like Lee Corso should retire. He should have retired years ago, just because I was sad watching it happen. But nobody can ever go to that. Like no one can do what he did for the last like decades. Like we just leave it alone.
Yeah, you gotta figure out a different thing.
Thing. And speaking of a different thing, sometimes you just want to redecorate your house. You know, sometimes you just want some things, you know, whether it's for storage, whether it's new paintings, whether it's new furniture. Summer is here, which means maybe you have a summer house. Maybe you're redoing your apartment. Maybe you're moving into a dorm, or maybe you just need something to spruce up your life. And of course, Wayfair's huge selection will help. And most importantly for the summer, they have an outdoor essential section that will just make your outdoor space more comfortable, functional, and most importantly, more you. They have all things outdoors at unbelievable prices. So don't wait until summer's in full swing. Do it now. Like we said, Memorial Day is coming up. It's time for that summer, whether you've got a tiny little balcony porch, whether you just want one chair outside, or you've got a full blown patio pool situation, Wayfair can get you helped out. There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or your budget. Your budget will be always taken into consideration. So shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture. And as always, all furniture and space saving and art on Wayfair. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Head to Wayfair.com. So other than that, we've got just one more news thing, and then we'll get into the most or the least toxic fan bases, as we teased at the top of the show. If you're just tuning in, I can't wait to see what Blutman said. Did you guys see Mack Brown say that North Carolina is now more primed for success because they have lowered the academic standards and the requirements to get in, and they put more investment into the football program since Bill Belichick was hired? Did you see all that?
Yeah, to me, that was kind of just old grumpy man saying
Yep.
words about a situation that happens every single time a new coaching staff comes in, especially when it's such a prominent coach. Like Mack Brown was a dude, and they were still putting like money to make it happen into his whole deal at UNC, and stuff just wasn't happening. He wasn't getting success on the field. Part ways with him. They bring in a new guy. It's Bill Belichick, and they want this crazy, Kayce. They want the football program to succeed and win football games.
I can't believe it.
Mack Brown can't believe it. He genuinely can't believe it.
I think I agree. And I mean, obviously, Mack Brown won a national title at Texas, and that was forever ago. And Ev, I kind of do agree with you. I think 2000 to 2010 was probably better, but that beside the point. Anytime a new coach comes in, a new shiny toy, especially somebody like Bill Belichick, the thing that putting more resources in, fine. The idea that you're saying, okay, now we're lowering academic requirements and all that, like that to me, and I mean, I know North Carolina is obviously a very great academic school. Anytime you make that claim, you better be 100% correct, because, and not that they're going to do anything to Mack Brown, but that is like North Carolina holds itself as like an academic institution and has, so they don't just let anybody in. And Mack Brown's like, I don't know, they probably lowered it for Bill Belichick. That seemed odd to me.
Well, no, this is all this is Mack Brown pre-positioning himself that if basically Bill Belichick wins, he's going to be, look, he got all the money behind him. He got lower academic standards behind him. He got better guys in. This is all just pre-positioning himself to say, hey, if he does good, I wish I had this. I wish I had these resources. I wish I was able to get kids in with a C average. That's all it is. Because if he doesn't win, he's going to be like, look, I was winning more with and it was even harder on me. Like, you got all this money and you still can't win. Like, all he's doing is just setting himself up for whatever happens this year, good or bad.
Yeah, it is a very, I love the way it's just old grumpy man, but this leads us into, there's always North Carolina news these days because of Bill Belichick, leads us into the Nutrafol glow up of the week. Of course, we love Nutrafol on this podcast. The reason we call it the Nutrafol glow up of the week is because if you've been following this podcast since Brandon joined in 2019, that man's hair has had one of the biggest glow ups of all time. And that is thank you to Nutrafol. I use Nutrafol postpartum. I've now been using the women's formula for about 6 months, and I see such a difference in my hair. An investment in your hair is an investment in yourself. Nutrafol supports hair growth from within, targeting root causes of hair thinning. You get visibly thicker, stronger, and fuller hair in just 3 to 6 months. Like I said, I truly have seen a major difference. And the glow up itself, Nutrafol has helped Brandon, and it can help you. The growth supplements, they have men's formula, women's formula, postpartum formula. And it's a full body thing. It's not just targeting your hair, and it's just take, some Nutrafol every day and watch the magic work. So that go to Nutrafol, Nutrafol.com/promo code UR. Start your hair growth journey with Nutrafol. Our Nutrafol glow up of the week. So normally what we've been doing since we started this segment with them, we've all gone around and we've all given one. Sometimes it's, teams, players, whatever. And I know Liam Blutman has a very strong opinion on what I'm about to say. Okay. And he's had a strong opinion on this specific topic. So I can't wait to hear. A few weeks ago, we heard, the interview on CBS Sunday Morning where Bill Belichick was being bossed around by Jordan Hudson, his 24-year-old girlfriend. And everyone was concerned. Everyone was saying, oh my God, what's Bill doing? Then there was the reports that she's banned from the facility. Then North Carolina saying, no, she's not. She's the COO of Belichick Productions, blah, blah, blah. And the last month or so, everyone wants to know, where did they meet? Did they really meet on a plane? There's all these accusations. Bam, like clockwork, she's got the upper hand, the glow up of the week. This girl was getting torn down a couple weeks. Apparently, Liam Blutman, she is engaged to Bill Belichick. She is now the future Mrs. Bill Belichick. And if this is true, if you think she gives a lovely motherfuck about anything else other than marrying that man and getting in that will, you are crazy.
True love.
True love.
Congrats to the happy couple. It's an age gap summer.
I mean, listen, in football, sometimes this team wins, sometimes that team wins. Love always wins, Kayce.
Love is love.
Love is undefeated.
Love is undefeated. No, I found it very funny because, obviously there's now a report that like Linda Holiday, who was Belichick's girlfriend for a very long time when he was with the Patriots, because she and Jordan have a pretty good age gap as well. There's now a report out there that Linda Holiday like confronted Jordan Hudson at a party in Nantucket where Linda's daughter was DJing. And I'm just like, Bill Belichick is too fucking old for this shit. Like, this is crazy to me. Like, why is he like, he's TMZ, article headline bait for his girlfriends fighting. I like Bill Belichick can't like any of this. He just simply can't. But if you're Jordan Hudson, like what she got second runner up at Miss Maine, she's glowing up, folks. She's going to have the last name Belichick soon, allegedly.
I'm still not totally buying this is true. I'm not saying it's definitely not true, but I think I don't have enough confirmation yet to be like they're engaged.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and from what we've seen, she publicizes a lot. So if they are engaged, you would think that she would probably have put it up there. But it's just like, I mean, Bill obviously loves having the younger girlfriend. Don't get me wrong. I said that, like, let the man have the younger girlfriend. Who cares? Like every dude's going to do something if he's like into the girl he's sleeping with. But the fact that it was just like, oh, she's banned from the facility. And then 2 weeks later, she apparently's got a Bill Belichick rock on her finger. That's quite literally a glow up in a few weeks, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, listen, it's a big time old guy move to like basically just get engaged and never get married. My grandpa did that one, still doing it. Like, you just get to like a certain point, you're like, listen, I'm not getting married again, but I'll throw a ring on and just let you know, like, I'm in it.
That's fair, but I don't know if
I'm not going anywhere kind of thing.
I don't know if 24-year-old girls like buy into that as much though, because that's like the prime age of like, if you're not married.
Sure, but I also don't know if they sometimes as much. I think sometimes they might not have a choice in this situation.
That's true.
Because we're starting to. I guess the way I see it now is I think the Jordan thing is getting so like over, like getting reported on so much in so many different directions of, like you said, engaged. Is she not allowed in the facility anymore? Like, I think he's got a little more wits about him than people are giving him credit for. Like, I think he's got a little more, I'd like to think, I guess I should say, like a little more control of the situation. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, she has had way more control than I ever imagined under Bill Belichick's watch. So I don't know.
True.
But I think maybe there's gotten to a point where, who knows, maybe he did have the conversation where he's like, hey, like this thing's got to like tone down a little bit. Like, it's getting a little crazy. Like, they're questioning whether I just like I'm like a vegetable. The way like it like thing, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's got maybe a little more control over it than everyone's starting to run with. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong.
We'll see. And I know Blutman will be tracking it. So that's the Nutrafol glove of the week. Go to Nutrafol.com, promo code UR. Okay. So a few weeks ago, we did the most toxic fan bases in college football. We had an actual list done that had a formula. We did our own. It obviously went awry because Brandon forgot Iowa. And that became the whole thing. Iowa fans, I mean, the amount of times I had to tell Iowa fans that they actually did hit me as a pregnant woman in the head with a closed beer when it was on. I mean, Liam or Lukey, whoever tweeted it, like it was, you can clearly see it with your own eyeballs and hear it with your own ears. And they were still arguing. The most toxic fan base is toxic. Okay. Like I said earlier, Brandon not being here, I said, let's say some nice things. Let's say the least toxic fan bases in college football, whether you want to do it currently, over time. I am doing it from my own experiences, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be in person when we've gone on shows. I can't wait to see what Liam's going to do. But Ev, I'll give you the floor first. Let's go 10-1 so we can do the big reveal. Who are your least toxic fan bases in college football?
Okay, I didn't order them. I'll give you I'll give you a quick order on the fly though. I think I can do that. I'm gonna throw in there at 10. I guess I'll do it at 10. I'm gonna throw this team in there at 10, who's been really good and has had they've been really close a lot of times, but I think I'm gonna give them credit for being least toxic because they've been in a situation where they could have gotten incredibly toxic. And I really, in my experience, they haven't been, and I've had a lot of dealings with them. I'm gonna go Penn State. And I'm saying that because they've been so close, they've been right there for a decent amount of time now. And listen, they definitely trashed Franklin. Like, I'll totally, like, they 100% a lot of their fans do that. But I think overall, a team that's been in their situation that does have some tradition, that's been right there, and has lost in like big moments. They've lost like heartbreakers to Ohio State. They lose a heartbreaker this year to Notre Dame. And I feel like they overall still kind of rally. Like, they don't get too down. Like, they're still kind of in it for the cause. So yeah, I'm going to go Penn State. I think they're like sneaky for a team at their caliber is not toxic.
I don't know. just really quick, I don't know if this is a me problem, but I just don't know if I could ever put them in least toxic just because there's still people that defend Joe Pa.
I guess that's a great point. I guess I'm thinking strictly ball.
Fair.
That's
Fair.
totally fair. That
to me, like the Penn State fans I know, the nicest group out there, but I just can't do it. But hey, it's not my list; it's yours. So go on.
That's fair. I'll go next for number 9. I'll go West Virginia. Another one that I think just happy-go-lucky, fun. I think they listen. If they're good, awesome. As long as they're like okay, just good enough to go to the games. Just good enough to tailgate, just good enough to have a good time. Yeah, West Virginia, they've had fun teams too.
Counterpoint. Nick Turaney, evil.
Oh, yeah, I love Nick.
You got me there, no doubt.
Yeah, well, the worst guy.
Yeah, that guy stinks, huh? Shout out Nick.
There are a lot of things you could describe Nick Turaney. I don't know if toxic is one of them. Maybe. I'm just saying. I'll stand up for him a little bit.
No Nick slander on this program. Next, I'll go Minnesota. Minnesota's another one. I definitely went Big Ten heavy a little bit because they're teams that I've dealt with a lot, and they just like you hear nothing from them like negatively, no like shit talk, no. I don't know. I think Minnesota, and even a guy like PJ Fleck, like high expectations, had some like big early years, hasn't really worked out like that. He's been fine. They've had some like decent seasons, like 8-4 type. Whatever, but 7-5, made bowl games, won bowl games. But listen, they're there week in, week out. It seems to me at least that they support Fleck a lot. So it's anyone that's good with just being like kind of average, a little bit better than average. It's pretty non-toxic. I'm going to go Syracuse, another one. This is a program. They lost to Stanford at home this year. They're ecstatic about how their season went. Non-toxic. Then I'm gonna go with the Liam Blutmans, UCLA. I think pretty non-toxic. I wonder if Blutman can give you some. I just think also a school like them, football is not their number one. They obviously basketball is always gonna be number one. It's LA just in general. There's a million things going on. They're not even respectfully, they're not the premier program in their own city. So I don't think there's much to be toxic about there. Weather's beautiful. Lot going on besides football out there.
Blutman is toxic about UCLA.
Yeah, I would say
not really.
Yeah, the UCLA Twitter people that I associate with and like am in a group chat with, extremely toxic towards UCLA. Everything that's happened since Jim Mora isn't at the head of this program anymore has been completely downhill. Very toxic about basketball as well. I know it's a different thing, a different story. I think I don't even know if I'd say sneaky. I'd just say like UCLA social. It's not a big Twitter conglomerate or anything, but they're loud and they're getting after it, and the football and basketball teams mentions all the time. I think we are toxic.
I think it's also easy to be toxic when you're in that fan base. Like, it's like because you see the worst of the worst.
Yeah, you see everything. You see the best and the worst. I see everything that's going on with Martin Charmand, the AD, and UCLA fans. We don't mess with this guy. We don't like him. I know everything about UCLA fans toxic.
Next, I'm going to go. This one to me is like had to be on the list. It's Nebraska. They just rally. I don't even think listen, they've obviously had so many tough losses, losing all the close games. Any fan base that sits there and argues that it was the best 3-9 season of all time, you're not toxic. All you would do is find positivity in your football program, in your team. They sell out every fucking game. They stink every year. They're finally getting to where they're like, okay. So I got to go Nebraska. The positivity, the unwavering positivity that they have for that team, when all they do is just get kicked in the dick.
That's all they do.
And they just show up week in, week out. I think a fan base, listen, any fan base, you're allowed to get negative from time to time. I don't think that makes you toxic.
Yeah, no, I have Nebraska on my list for the same reason. Like, they quite literally try to tell you that a 3-9 season was good because it was the best way to lose 9 games. Like that, you want to talk about like seeing sunshines and roses. Like that's sunshine and roses.
That's what I'm saying. I think they were like one of the first teams that popped in my head on the list. So I got 4 more. All right, the next one, Kansas football. You want to talk non-toxic?
Ooh.
Those guys are excited just to win a game or two. Leipold's got them off the mat. They're at least like a respectable program. Yeah, Kansas, easy. Another one that was incredibly easy immediately popped in my head. Rutgers. Rutgers really maybe should be number 1. I mean, you want to talk like least toxic. Another one, they're just happy to be there. They know what the absolute gutter feels like. They're like the dirt of the dirt. So again, it's kind of similar to Kansas. Just to be like middle of the road to actually like now I think I would consider them like a respectable Big Ten team. So I mean, them getting to like that point, they play like a respectable like brand of football. You know what kind of Rutgers team you're going to get year in, year out with Schiano. Just tough, physical, run the football, play solid defense. They get some NFL guys every year. So kudos to Rutgers. They're definitely not toxic at all. They're just happy to be there. Just want to tailgate on a Saturday, maybe a Friday night. And the last 2 are the easiest ever, Navy and Army. I mean, you want to talk like although they can get toxic with each other, but as individuals, you want to talk like just riding for their team. I mean, I grew up so close to like West Point. My whole life until basically like the last like 7 years with Mock and however long it's been, they were atrocious, absolutely atrocious. But the troops, they ride for their guys. So I'll say Navy 2, Army 1. Army, ride. No matter
I
what.
feel obviously not near as upset as Brandon did with Iowa because that's a different level of upset and toxicity. But I didn't even think about Army and Navy for this because I thought like with them being so toxic to each other. And I like you're absolutely right. The troops have to be there. Like they have to. They're not on my list.
Toxic. They have rivalry with each other, but like them,
right?
This exercise to me is like the way you kind of deal with your own like
1,000%. That was a complete oversight.
As loyal as it gets. They take a bullet for their fan base. Who else would do that?
They not only would take a bullet for their fan base, they would take a bullet for anyone watching. I know we've said this before, and I know Dave has said it on the College Football Show. We've all said it at different times. Like when we all were there in, 2018, 2019, whatever it was, and we were on the field, they said, this is the only game where everyone playing on the field would die for everyone watching. And I have chills again. Like that's incredible list, Ev. I will go through mine because I can't, like I said, I cannot wait to see how Liam did this. I have some that are the same, but number 10, kind of with like your point with, people that care more about basketball. I have Duke at number 10. Like Duke football to me, like I know they care and, they're up and they're down. And I just like A&M played Duke when I was in school in a bowl game. And it was just like, they're just like, I don't know, like we're a basketball school. Like when we're good at football, we're great. They don't really care either way. This one is only because I'm taking Brandon Walker out of it, because he does not fucking count. And he's also not here, so he can't speak up for himself. Mississippi State is very not toxic to me. Like Mississippi State as a whole, every time I've gone, they just want to ring their little cowbells. They hate Ole Miss, but overall nice people. You don't really see them, getting into people's mentions unless Brandon is involved. But like I said, I'm taking Brandon out of the fan base, Mississippi State. Number 8, Virginia Tech. And I know that sometimes they absolutely stink. And I know sometimes they'll get into the mix with people. But as far as like when I deal with Virginia Tech, like they get angry about stuff, but they're not mean people on Twitter. At least they've never been to me. So maybe I'm not seeing that side of Virginia Tech Twitter. But even when they stink, like as soon as they go viral for, Enter Sandman and all that stuff, they're just happy. They're happy that they're being talked about. Number 7, I don't know. I can't remember if it was Liam or Brandon, or maybe it was you, Ev, that got into it. I don't think, but like, BYU doesn't seem very toxic to me. And I don't know if that's like a Mormon thing or what, but they're not toxic, or they are, Liam. They are
BYU, Utah State. If you get into the depths of it,
it's bad. So
I mean, there's good, of course. But
right.
I think there's in that part of the country, there's a lot of they like them white and blonde.
Well, I didn't know we were going that way. Shit.
So I knew that's. I just was saying the thing that Blumman was afraid to say. I just say.
There is something that happened today with BYU,
and I obviously didn't see.
Well,
yes.
there are
Yes. Not
correct,
good.
and
Not
there
good.
are Utah fans celebrating. And if you know, that ain't right.
What
Not
happened?
good. Let's just say Mr. Retzlaff, our quarterback of the BYU team last year. I was going to compliment him, but now he's in weird air to compliment him.
Yeah, you can't really compliment
He
him.
may or may not have. He had a great year last year
no.
on the football field, and he may or may not have some allegations against him currently of the sexual matter.
Okay, I would like to say a couple
But,
things.
but again, these are allegations at the moment, to my knowledge. I've just seen this for the first time today. I don't know the truth, or I don't know. There's just allegations. I believe maybe a civil suit has been brought to him. Is that maybe Liam has more clarity on?
Yeah, it's allegations stemming from 2023 alleged SA, and Utah fans were celebrating.
I would like it stricken from the record. I would not like to put BYU at that list. So kind of like we talked about
it's all the Utahs. They're
out.
They're getting into the rivalry, and they're like they get to the lowest of the lows of the depths.
You know how we were saying a couple weeks ago or whenever it was, like if Michigan has to vacate their title, it'll just say, like 2024 empty. Reggie Bush was just my number 7 is just empty now because I would like to just erase them from there. It's just open because I'm not going to try to fill it in. I'm not going to try to pretend that out. The Mormons are out. Okay.
Put Montana there.
Okay, Montana, great. Put a little asterisk next to it. Liam Blutman's fill in. No, I want number 7 empty because I did not know that. I was obviously reading about Matt Rule wanting 40 playoff teams as opposed to some of that shit. So anyways, number 6, I have Rutgers. When we went to Rutgers for the college football show, it was a Friday night. So obviously it was, Friday Night Lights, all that. But they are just so happy to have attention there. And it's like the birthplace of college football. And it was just like, Nebraska was there. It was a big game. And it was just like, we're just happy to have this attention. We're just happy to have PFT and Big Cat and Dave Portnoy and crew on the campus, like just happy people. And they are a joke half the time. Like they've actually, been better, like you said, but it's like, they don't even care that they're like the butt of the joke half the time. They're like, we're just happy to have a space. And we're happy to say that college football was born here. So they're there. Nebraska for all the reasons you mentioned. When we went to Nebraska and they got absolutely destroyed by Michigan, it was hot as fuck. We all wanted to leave. We went and jumped on the jet. Even on the way out, they were just like, waving at Dave. And, it was just like, nobody was talking shit. Like they were just sad. Like that's not toxic. They're just sad right now. But I put them there. I know that Brandon would disagree with this, but Kansas State to me, and like Kansas State's had some issues, but Kansas State as a whole, like when they're really good, like you hear them. When they're bad, you really don't. Like I know that Kansas and Kansas State obviously hate each other. When you said Kansas, I was like, actually, they're probably less toxic than Kansas State, but they're there for me. Washington State to me just seems like they're like the chillest dudes ever. They're like, I don't know, fuck it. We got a new quarterback. That's great. If not, we don't really care. We don't really care the Pac-12 is gone. We're just happy to be here. And when they're good, we all love to talk about it for a reason. Number 2, Wisconsin. Now, Ev, you might disagree with me. I don't know. Wisconsin to me, they just love their cheese curds. They love jump around. They love the lakes. They're going to Madison seems like you're walking into like an old movie, the dive bars and the steakhouses just as a whole. And then number 1 is the epitome to me, the epitome of we're just happy to be here. And we're only talking about college football. It's Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is just so happy to have a seat at the SEC table. And when they win, and we've seen it, we saw it with Diego, they are the happiest people on the planet. And when they suck, and they always suck, and their stadium has been under construction for 10 fucking years, maybe even longer, their stadium doesn't sell out. They don't care. They're just happy to say we're a part of the SEC. They're happy to be smart kids. They're happy to have a good basketball and baseball team sometimes, obviously baseball more so. As far as football goes, Vandy's incredibly intoxicating. Like, I don't know. We're just going to go to Broadway. We don't really care. We're just happy to say SEC and wear it on our jersey. And folks, before we get to Liam Blutman, because it is the moment I've been waiting for, because I cannot wait to see how he did this. We're going to talk about Ava, because the last thing that you want is a toxic credit score. Of course, you don't want a toxic credit score. Credit score. I can't even talk. If you haven't thought about your credit score in a long time, you are not alone. A lot of people don't think about it. A lot of people, especially younger people, if you're in school, if you're right out of school, you don't even think that it really matters until you try to go, buy a car or try to get a credit card, Ava can help you with all that, because a good score can mean better rates, lower payments, and bigger opportunities. And that's where Ava comes in. It's a credit building app that makes it super simple to improve your credit fast, so you can get better rates on loans, pay off debt faster, and keep more money in your pocket. The Ava card gives you a credit up to $2,500, and you can use it to pay off your existing bills and subscriptions automatically. And then you can just sit back and watch your credit climb. It reports your on-time payments to all major credit cards every day and credit bureaus, and it helps you build positive credit history quickly. This is one of those things they just simply do not teach you in high school. They do not teach you how important this is. I remember when I went to buy my first car, I had no credit because I didn't know I had to have credit. And I was like, well, if I don't have credit, how can I get credit? Ava can help you with that type of thing. So download the Ava app, spelled AVA, today. And when you join, use our promo code RUFF, and you'll get your first month completely free. And that's offers for only Unnecessary Roughness listeners. So get the Ava app, use promo code RUFF to get your first month. That's promo code RUFF, thanks to Ava. Now go get yourself some good credit. And all I can hear when I say that, Ev, is Playboy Cardi and the Kendrick Lamar song. Liam Blutman, how did you do the least toxic fan bases in college football?
This is going to be a monumental letdown, I fear. I feel
Why?
like. I don't know, because I
think he did it. He did it correctly.
Number one.
It's not going to be monumental letdown. I just don't know how your brain works. I know how Ev's brain works. I know how Brandon's brain works.
Fair. There is no pressure. There's no way to fail. Especially for this school, I suppose. They don't have anyone roaming around on Twitter tweeting. This Twitter doesn't exist. Number one, I'm starting to list at number one, is so far and away Stanford. They do not classify to have the number of fans to qualify for toxicity or not. There are no Stanford, the farm, Stanford Stadium supposedly sits 50,000. There ain't no way. When you look at the farm, talk about that 2010s football when Andrew Luck was there slinging it, Kevin Hogan, all these guys just playing good old Stanford. We're gonna line up in I form. We're gonna run some play action and sling the rock. When they were doing that, guess what was in the crowd? Grannies with newspapers. That's Stanford football. That image lives in my head rent free. Stanford football, Stanford athletics as a whole. There are no kids. There's no 9-year-old that's a diehard Stanford fan. That doesn't exist. You become a Stanford fan because your parent went there and they're giving you like stuff to wear, I suppose, and you're seeing them play. I mean, you ain't see them play in the Rose Bowl anymore, but maybe you saw their women's basketball team in an Elite Eight game or something, and that's how you get it. Like, you're not Stanford football. There's no the Stanford sports again. There's no pipeline to becoming a fan for the most part, aside from you're a genius and you got to go to Stanford, and they don't be accepting a lot of people. That is obviously such a difficult school to get into. So, and they don't have that many students when you really think about it. So they're not getting all these fans, and that ain't leading to anything down the road if they don't have offspring. So Stanford fans, they don't qualify to be toxic. They're
almost like so harmless that I just completely forgot about them. Completely.
If you go to a Stanford game, they're gonna be so nice. They have no idea what's happening on social media. They really don't. All they care, they're on LinkedIn trying to set up like their nephew for a great job opportunity or something. Stanford fans, can we be honest? Stanford fans might be going extinct. They might be going out like dinosaurs. The dodo bird. There ain't no Stanford fans coming up in the system.
It's a great choice, and you're right. It is so non-toxic that it's like not even like remotely on my brain.
You know, I almost like I looked at them, like I went just like a quick run through, like I just like looked at all the conferences, and like they crossed my mind, but they almost were so out of the, I just was like, I don't even want them, but like they absolutely deserve to be near the top. I think Butman's totally right.
Also, like being in the ACC, none of them care anymore. None of them care that they're playing NC State and Miami. That doesn't move the needle for them. Stanford, the farm got lit up when they're hosting Oregon, and they get a shot to go and beat the top 10 Oregon team, and they get like all their Pac-12 brothers and sisters coming into the building. You're playing at when I was growing up, again, 2010 is all I could think about today. The pinnacle of college football for me, because I was born in 98. This was right in the peak of my childhood for college football watching. Ain't nobody I wanted to play less on a Thursday night road game than Stanford. And the farm, just an absolutely terrifying place that a friend, but at the time, a hideous, gross, daunting Stanford tree mascot. They're banned. The Stanford band's got like 73-year-olds in it. It's crazy. Stanford, least toxic. To move on real quickly, 2 through 10 is nobody, because again, every single fan base has
You said this was going to be a letdown.
Every single fan base has the absolute worst people in it, except Stanford. And I'm only talking FBS here. And every single fan base has the best people in it. They handshake. They do whatever. I was my number one worst. 2 through 10 on my worst. There's none. Stanford's my number one least. Yeah. This is how you say it. Yeah, Stanford's my number one least. 2 through 10. There's nobody else. It's just there's like 135, I suppose, or 4, whatever teams were at. 6, I have discalculated. I don't remember. There's Iowa, there's Stanford, there's everybody in between. There's toxic, there's non-toxic, there's neutral. And that's just how college football is. We're speaking strictly college football here. We could put Air Force, we could put Army, we could put Navy, but deep down, they began toxic with each other all the time for commanders in chief. So if we're doing this straight up, college football toxicity, Iowa, you're 1. Stanford, you're on the complete other end of it. Everybody else is tied.
That is exactly what I hoped happened. Like, I didn't know that's where we were going, but tip of the cap, because like Blutman, you said you thought that would underdeliver. That's exactly what I wanted.
I was getting worried. I was getting the heebie-jeebies, the stage
What
fright.
you basically just described is like when you talk about politics and you talk about the far left and the far right, and everyone's pretty much in the middle, right? Like you just set the spectrum of toxicity in college football. Iowa to Stanford, it's somewhere in between. What lies in between? I love it. That's just the most Blutman thing of all time. I love it.
I'll say what I thought, which I guess he did sort of I think a better version of what I thought he was going to do.
What do you think he was going to do?
I thought he was going to do one of 2 different things. I thought he was either going to pick schools that literally like don't have football teams. I thought he was going to pick like Villanova, I didn't think they do. I think they do.
Put some respect on the Nova.
Yeah. Georgetown. I don't think they have football. Maybe they do have or whatever. I thought he was going to pick a bunch of schools like that, like look up a bunch of schools that like don't have that have like big basketball and just don't have football at all. Or I thought he literally was going to say like I thought he was going to say like Charlotte and like
Charlotte fans are actually toxic.
See, and
they got so angry.
Charlotte sent me a great care package. Like I thought he was going to say like
their fans were angry.
Like Kennesaw State and like Middle Tennessee State, like UMass.
I thought it was going to be all
because
FCS.
It just gets back to it. Like I thought about putting Western Kentucky on there, but like I have to be such a Western Kentucky fans are great. MTSU fans are great. 100 miles of hate. You put those 2 together, they want to kill each other. That's toxic. That's toxic rivalry. That's what makes college football so great. There's nobody there's really aside from Stanford.
But
Stanford does kind of listen. I understand like now because Stanford hasn't been good, but like Notre Dame is like a little bit like they've had moments of like you said, like when luck was good, like them and USC was always like a big game. Like, but I think Stanford's a great pick. Stanford definitely is.
The tree is horrifying. The tree really like that sold it for me. I hate that fucking tree. Like,
I hate him and I love him.
He's horrifying. Okay, so I think we'll save the win totals for next week because obviously we're right at an hour. You've got a big game. I would also love Brandon's input. So all the sports books, obviously we love DraftKings the most. They come out with win totals. I had 6 that really stood out to me. So next week, that's what we'll do is talk about the ones that stand out, take the overs and unders. But That was Unnecessary Roughness. Before we head out, Ev, I know you've got, like I said, a big game tonight. The NBA season's over for me, but you don't want to have to think about food. That's where Factor comes in. Factor's been a great sponsor of this podcast for a long time. You get delicious, nutritious 2-minute meals. Eating's never been easier. You just heat it up and enjoy. It's never frozen. It just goes directly in the fridge. So instead of, going to the grocery store, prepping, cooking, eating takeout, doing whatever you have to do, you just pick your menu every single week and it shows up. You have 45 weekly menu options. You can do Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. It powers your daily satisfying needs, whether that's breakfast, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, or guilt-free snacks and desserts. They also have amazing protein shakes, amazing appetizers for game days or whatever. So if you're like Ev and you're going to sit down and you're going to watch the Eastern Conference Finals or the Western Conference Finals or whatever you may be watching, let Factor help it because it's easier to save more this spring. Get started at factormeals.com/roughness, 50 off, and use code roughness50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code roughness50 off at factormeals.com/roughness50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. It's the summer. We don't have time to be cooking. We don't have time to be eating takeout. Get your Factor meals. That is Unnecessary Roughness. We will be back next week, obviously once a week until the college football season gets ramped up. Memorial Day, though, coming up, folks, which means it is sliding into that time where we start really looking at the schedules. So we will be back. Brandon, I think all four of us will be here together next week. So thank you for listening. Thank you to Twisted Tea. That's Unnecessary Roughness.